Welcome back, Formless Seekers. Whether you have been walking this path with us for a while, or you just stumbled upon this frequency today, I am glad you are here because we are about to peel back a layer of history that has been misunderstood for over a century. Today, we are looking at the man, the myth, and the misunderstood spirit of Friedrich Nietzsche. You have heard the quote, everyone has, God is dead. In the rigid world of academia and theology, they took this as a war cry against religion. They painted Nietzsche as a nihilist, a destroyer of faith. But here in the Formless Guide, we look deeper. We look at the soul of the man who said it, the man that lies behind the shadow. Now let's strip away the textbooks. Nietzsche was not just a philosopher sitting in an ivory tower. He was a man in constant battle with his own vessel. He lived with a chronic illness that kept him in a state of near death for much of his life. Imagine living with the deep, heavy regret of not being able to fully serve in the military at that point in time to participate in the honor of his time because his body just wouldn't allow it. He was trapped in a physical limitation. There is a story that's often overlooked about a moment where he brushed so close to death that he gave instructions to a friend on who should be allowed at his funeral. It was coming out of this darkness, this proximity that was coming to the end, that this realization hit him. When he said, God is dead, he wasn't shouting at the sky. He was whispering to the unconscious mind. He was speaking to the part of us that sleepwalks, waiting for a deity or a system to take the wheel. He was saying that the safety net of the unconscious is dead. We cannot sleep anymore. We have to wake up and take responsibility for our own being. And the illusion of disconnect. I'd like you to look at how the world received it. This is where this illusion of disconnect shows its teeth. Nietzsche wrote about becoming the Übermensch or the Overman, someone who transcends the herd. But who controlled his legacy? His sister, Elisabeth. While Nietzsche plummeted into his own madness, trapped in his own mind, suffering with his own illnesses, his sister held the keys to his library. She was married to a prominent anti-Semite. She took her brother's beautiful, complex, formless explorations of the human potential, and she twisted them. She edited his archives, specifically the will to power, to fit a hateful, nationalist narrative that Nietzsche himself detested. She created a disconnect. She took the unity of his message and forced it into a box of separation and superiority. This brings a natural end. And how did this story physically end for him? It is easy to look for some sort of poetic justice or a tragic karma, to think that perhaps he was punished for his bold claims. But the truth comes far simpler and more grounding. It was not hate that killed him. It was not divine punishment for declaring God is dead. It was pneumonia. His body succumbed to the causation of the period he lived in. It was a simple biological vulnerability, common to the late 19th century. Even the greatest minds are bound to the fragility of the vessel. This grounds him. It reminds us that he was not a demon or a prophet, just a man subject to the wind and the rain and the bacteria of his time. The seed in the totality of all of this. We often look at duality, right? Good and bad, sickness and health, the sister and the brother, as mistakes. But through the lens of the formless, we see that this illusion of disconnect is actually meant to create space. It creates a gap of solace where we can wrestle with the truth. Nietzsche's suffering, his illness, his sister's betrayal, the pneumonia that took his breath, these were not accidents. They were the pressure required to turn the coal into the diamond. Realize that life stems in duality to create these gaps. But this is but a seed in the totality that becomes being. When you zoom out to the infinitely changing scale that is consciousness, the labels begin to fall away. Linear time, gone. Simple versus complex becomes meaningless. God versus man becomes just words. There is only the raw experience of being. Nietzsche tried to show us that when the external God of structure dies, the internal divinity of the Creator must rise. He wanted us to be the artists of our own lives, painting on a canvas that has no edges. So as you walk through your week, ask yourself, what part of my unconscious needs to die so that I can truly start living, so that I truly can begin being? Thank you for listening, and as always, stay formless. This is your Formless Guide, signing off.